Yeah? Or you can just introduce yourself, Piyush. How about you?
Sure. Yeah. Hi.
Can we have a mic for these guys? No? Or everybody can?
Little louder.
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, I think it's being recorded as well, right? So we just need to have it. You can, ma'am, you can move in the front, so you don't have to be actually that. Yeah, go ahead, Piyush. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think it's working. Yeah. Yeah, please.
So, I've been in software industry, product development for around 20 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, great.
And recently, my some jobs involved into data pipeline, the business, the marketplace management, business process. So a lot of things to do with data and analytics. I was involved in.
Yep.
But never got a chance to. I mean, it was all like learn by yourself.
Yeah.
Just go and figure it out. I never got a chance to learn it in a more systematic or theoretical way and then apply. So I'm looking to see. Okay, hey, some of the things that I learned on the way, and now maybe a little more systematic and a theoretical approach.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great. Welcome. Yeah. Really look forward to, interacting with you more. Dhanush?
Yeah, I'm Dhanush and I'm special with 2 years in experience.
Yep.
I'm surviving and I was a student.
Okay. So what makes you interested in the data science or the analytics field? Is it the hype, or you have done some homework on it and done some research? That's great. On your own?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was interested in data science.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah. Cannot see you. Arshan? Sorry? Sheriff? Okay. Go ahead. Oh, wow. Okay. Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. How many years of experience you have? 2 years of experience. So same sort of profile. Okay. Welcome. Yeah. Oh, is it? Okay. To join together for the program. Okay. Got it. Welcome. Yeah. Cool. We'll get to talk more. Yeah. Go ahead. Great. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And which subjects do you teach in computer science, or? Okay. 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 That's great. And do you teach the programming or the? Uh-huh. Okay. 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 Great. Awesome. Yeah. So welcome. Yeah. Uday?
I'm a stockbroker.
Sorry?
I'm a stockbroker.
Stockbroker. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you do stockbroking full time, or and do you work for on your own or? Okay. Great. Great. Welcome. Yeah. Chaitra?
I'm going to close and have a part of experience. The last 2 years, we just really setting into region analytics. Really interesting. So started taking from there. Much more perspective when it comes to these things, but then I want to learn more. So looking forward to learn.
Sure. Awesome. Yeah. So what do you do in Lowe's right now?
So we are mostly into user research, product development, re-rendering a lot of stuff at this point of time.
Yeah. Which tools do you use typically for doing all these? Okay. So it's mostly like, the market research and Excel and the presentations and stuff like that?
Let's say if I have to come up with a new idea and then we can save it and then
Yeah.
start working with the UI.
Got it.
Later all these users to read and all that.
Awesome. Awesome. Welcome. Yeah. Cannot see your name.
Logs and Sakshi is recruiting people from REVA today. So we are glad and thank you for sending.
So you can put both hats, so you can go for the recruitment as well after this, yeah. Asha.
Yeah, hi, I am Asha. Currently, I'm working with Csv File as one of the analysts in their planning analytics division. And for me, analytics just happened by chance. In a way, I Chandra has used to go to CNN. So she has been my mentor in one of my previous organizations started. So I've been in retail for long and like now getting into like I've been in retail analytics for the past 2 years. But yeah, now I want to explore more.
Okay, welcome, yeah, great. Sanjay, yeah?
Hi, I'm Pandey. I'm from Bangalore. I have 8 years experience in IT. This is the 3 years I've been on it. So currently I'm working.
So you're already working in the analytics field?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm working on Python and SAS.
Okay.
So I'm working for AG Analytics.
Mm-hmm.
So we are into building the insurance model.
Okay. So what exactly are you doing in the insurance? So is it like the churn prediction, fraud prediction? What do you work on?
Yes. The customer churn predict, whether the customer is going to renew the policy from the upcoming year or not.
Okay.
Those predictions we do and we give our results to the operator. Based on that, we will test.
Okay, great. Anybody did I missed or? Okay, good. So I think shall we start or we can wait for another 5 minutes?
On the way, I think they never reach on time.
Okay.
So, but with all the respect to the people who have come on time, let's begin the session. Your mic has been on.
Yeah.
They want to record this session. So, we are actually, this is actually a series of information seminars we are planning from REVA Academy for Corporate Excellence, which is a working professionals entity at REVA University. So we are in different programs and maybe at the end of part 3 session, we will give you a small glance on what we are doing. Just to introduce Happy, Happy doesn't require much introduction because he's already put his LinkedIn profile there. He's a blogger, he's a speaker, he's a very prominent figure in analytics industry, and we're so glad and blessed that he is with us. So he's in our board of studies, he's in our program design with multiple fields and analytics. And Arpi is kind of a techno-functional because he runs the business at Cabbage, plus he's a hardcore code, so he's a programmer. And that's the kind of skill that we are looking at people to build through this program. So kind of a techno-functional who can manage businesses but also know the technical side of it. And we are so glad he's picked up this particular thing because there is a lot of interest on a lot of text data is available online. And he's going to talk about a lot of social media data and how do we actually decide this and create business productivity. And I'm sure you will rock RP as well. So RP for you, and please make it very interactive, make us learning as possible. And it's a lifelong engagement learning facility that we want to provide at REVA University. So it's not your first time. We would want you to keep coming for different learning needs. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you, Shinu. Yeah, absolutely. So guys, very quickly, you can connect with me. I think Shinu has already mentioned. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Very quickly about my profile, I have almost 17 years of experience in the fields of analytics, data science. So been a practitioner all along. So unlike, some of the managers which, after they get promoted, they lose touch with the technicalities and they focus more on the stakeholders management and the management of the business and so on and so forth. I have always made a point that I need to be engaged with respect to what is happening in the project and the technical side of things, right? So you're more than welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. So recently I'm heading a company called Cabbage. This is a fintech company based out of US, and I predominantly focus on the risk and the deep learning function there, right? Prior to that, I was, with a startup over here. I set up the entire startup practice as the head of the analytics and machine learning. The company is doing quite well. I was the employee number 1 for that company to really set up and make it up and running, right? Before that, I was with Citigroup for almost 5.5 years, and with Target and with Texas Instruments and other companies. In terms of my educational profile, I have an ISB MBA, Masters from US, and engineer by the education. So that's briefly about me, right? So I continue to think more in terms of the engineering terms, and how to apply the engineering mindset to solve the problems in the business world, right? So that's briefly about me. You are more than welcome to connect with me on Quora as well. As Shinu mentioned, I mean, it took me a while to really figure out what is the utility of Quora, but then finally I appreciated, what exactly the platform is all about, and since then I've been very, very active on Quora as well. I have 250 odd answers, depending on, what exactly you might be looking at. Chances are very good that you'll find something which is of help to you, right? So you're more than welcome to give it a try as well, right? Okay, so now let me shift gears. Sorry. Oh, sorry, yeah. So, thank you. So then I would also like to talk about the blog that I actually maintain. And this is totally focused on Python, and I do have some of the modules in R as well, but mostly in Python. It's called datafy.com, and I have, arranged by the different topics, and it's basically sort of like a selfish interest for me as well, because I keep on leveraging my blog as well during my teaching and discussions as I do the talks and presentations, right? So you're more than welcome to take out some of these topics for a spin and see what you can learn from that, right? Little bit technical for people who do not have any background. You may not necessarily appreciate it, but if you know something about the analytics data science, you'll find tons of value, I hope, right? Anything else, that I missed? Thanks. Okay. Absolutely, yeah. So let me now begin with and I will make it very, very interactive as Shinu promised, right? So I will ask you guys first, what do you understand by sentiment? Forget about the sentiment analysis, but what is sentiment? Any volunteers? What people are feeling? Okay, can you build more on that? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so like how I'm feeling right now, what is my sentiment? Class,
yeah.
Something. So
right.
That is
right. So can you name some sentiments, for example?
Happy, sad,
sad.
sad.
Happy, sad, joy, anger, surprised, sorry? Satisfaction, right? So, I mean, there are various different ways of really quantifying the sentiment that you have, right? Now, why is it important to know the sentiment? To predict? Predict what? What is the outcome? No, I mean, it's okay. I mean, people may have different viewpoints. So, predict what? I mean, you might be right. So, predict what? Uday? Okay. Right, right. So you're saying that if I know that the market sentiment is bearish on the equity, I would go and trade my bets accordingly, or I'll put my bets accordingly. I'll go more on the short side and the put options and stuff like that, which is fine, yeah. So you have to really understand from the text what exactly are the people feeling, yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead, Asha. No, 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 no.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fine. Yeah, let's make it interactive, yeah.
I would understand this as like to understand how you have done and then predict how you're going. So
Right.
supposing if I've opened a restaurant and like some people are
Right.
giving some reviews,
Yeah.
if they are bad reviews, then I would know that okay, something has gone wrong, and then I would like fix that problem to hope that people would then start.
Absolutely, absolutely. Before even you predict, you have to first understand what are the ground realities. How do the people feel as of now? Once you have a fair understanding of what has happened, why it has happened, then you can say, okay, what I can do something about to change the course of the action in the future. Absolutely right. Folks on this side, any thoughts? Dhanush, what is your sentiment about the data science?
Something like to that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, great. Anybody else? Any thoughts? Yush, did we capture everything or anything else?
Yeah.
We captured everything, right?
What to do on the emotions and some logic sometimes.
Right.
So let's say, I was reading about it. Like, if there is a popcorn of $7 and there's $3, people have a very easy buy on. But you have something for $6.5, and they will definitely go to $7.
Mm-hmm.
So now that will be sentiment.
Okay, yeah.
That's logic sometimes, more of
I think you bring up a very good point, Chatra, and correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name. So, but the thing is that human, unlike what we think about ourselves, I mean, we think that we are very logical and we always think very logically. We don't. A lot of times we think very emotionally about the things, right? So it's always a balance between your heart and brain. And sometimes we think that we are thinking about the things logically, but we think more in the sentiment way, more in the emotional way. Will it, do you guys have any example in terms of, how you think more emotionally or more logically? Do you think you're always logical or always emotional or mixed, or what exactly it is? You're not a machine ultimately, right? I mean, we're not a machine, we are human. The main difference between a machine and human is the emotion angle, right? So any take on that? Majority of the decisions are dominated by sentiments, but we will always make it look logical. We will always say that I am having more brain, right? We'll always, give it a twist and the spin that we're thinking logically, but ultimately most of the things are driven by sentiments. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think these two things are not kind of separate or compartmentalized. The sentiment and logical thinking.
Yes.
They are sort of intertwined.
Right.
Because through logical thinking, pure logical thinking, you make some decisions. That kind of sets some pattern in your mind, and then that triggers some sentiment next time something similar comes up.
Yes.
And then sentiment and logic maybe together work. So it's not like really separate.
Yeah.
It's all combined actions that actually take place.
Absolutely. Great point, right? So, I mean, ultimately, we're all a very, very, very twisted personality. I mean, we all have different aspects and stuff like that, right? So, you'll not be able to pinpoint whether I did it because of the logic or because of the sentiment, but it'll be intertwined to your point, Piyush. Welcome. Can you just say a couple of lines about yourself? I don't see your name as well. I mean, so maybe you can just, yeah. Padmanathan, okay. Welcome, yeah.
I'm working for the past 4 years. So I'm looking for a career change in business.
Okay, awesome. Welcome. Sorry, in interest of time, we'll get to know more about each other later on. So I'll just move on with the topic here, right? So that's where, I mean, we have to really analyze the sentiment and the topic for the discussion today, which is the sentiment analysis, right? Now, where do we get and we will focus more on the text, right? And not anything more. Let me just figure this one out very quickly. So we will focus more on the text. Why do you think the text sentiment analysis is important, or why there's a need for it? Padmanabhan, let's begin with you. Why is it important to do the text sentiment analysis? Any reasons? Whatever you can think of. There is no bad answer, by the way. I mean, don't think that people will judge you or I will judge you. Hey, Padmanabhan does not even know this much. No bad answer. You can speak your brain or your mind, whatever comes to your mind.
That we can put what we want to say.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Good. Anybody else? Any thoughts why text mining is very important? Yeah.
That's the very reason the text analysis is in campaign. So that's
Yeah.
what we say.
Yeah.
Makes some sense to them.
Yeah.
The crowd.
Yeah. And that's exactly right. So most of the conversation that you're going to have, most of the sentiments will be reflected in the text and not the numbers, right? So, I mean, you will buy certain thing. We know that you have made a decision whether you bought the product or not, but why did you buy the product or why did you not buy the product is never going to capture in your decision that you made. It's going to be captured in the comments, in the feedback, in all the things that you share in the text format, right? So that's why I don't know, I mean, you guys all come in from the big corporates, right? And we keep on having these engagement surveys or employee satisfaction survey and so on and so forth, right? And one of the things that the people operations and the HR will keep on harping about is the comments. Please put the comments. Why they ask for the comments? Because I can go and blindly put the rating of 4, 5, 3, whatever, right? It doesn't mean a whole lot until I look at the comments. The moment I look at the comment, it basically paints a very different picture on the board. What exactly people feel, how exactly employees are feeling in the system, whether they are satisfied on certain things, unsatisfied on other things, and so on and so forth, right? So that's the magic of the text, right? We communicate in text. We do not communicate in numbers. We are not the machines and say 0, 1 all the time, and then, based on that, we find a pattern. We communicate in the text, right? So that's why the text mining and the text sentiment analysis is of the paramount importance, right? Most of the data that you'll see is in the text, right? Now, the million-dollar question becomes, text is easy to comprehend. Why do we have to do the text sentiment analysis? I can just read the comments. Why do we have to do the text sentiment analysis? Sorry, I didn't, your name tag is not there. Namrata, yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, also I think that if it was just one or two feedback or comments, that is okay.
Yep.
But when you have hundreds and thousands, it's
Right.
not possible to like reach to every one of them.
Exactly right. Yeah. So I think, both of the answers are correct. So one is, that, you may have your own subjectivity superimposed in terms of how you read the comment. The, probably a bigger reason is that we are talking about at scale sentiment analysis and not, 20 comments or 30 comments, because I can go and physically look at those comments and I can figure out what exactly is happening, right? So where exactly this text data is going to come in from for us to do the sentiment analysis? Social media, forums, feedback, all of that, right? So let's list out some of them very quickly and see, where exactly you can get this data from. Because today we'll be focused on one particular angle, but you can get it from anywhere, right? So first, obviously, is going to be your social media, right? Facebook, if you look at this, you'll see most of the things are there in the textual format. Twitter, right? Instagram, obviously, is photograph, right? LinkedIn is textual. WhatsApp is all text, right? So you can see a lot of this is going to come in from the social media, right? Including Twitter. The other thing is the employee comments and feedback, right? So if I have, exit interviews and stuff like that, I would like to look into those comments and figure out what really is happening. So employee feedback. Third is customer feedback, right? I'm just giving you some examples. So if you go to Amazon, and let me actually just do it right now. I don't know about you guys, but one of the main factors for me to really buy anything on Amazon is what I read in terms of the comment, right? So if I just go to Amazon.com, for example, and pull up any product. Let's say I go explore today's deal, right? Sorry, it is a little bit slow. But the idea is, the moment you have any of these products opened up, you'll see a bunch of comments. How many of you look at those comments in order to, so let's say we are looking at this, right? Let's say we are looking at leather purses, right? And if you click on this, another one, I think somehow I have opened the Amazon US, which is fine. All right, so the moment you look at this, customer who also bought this, all of that is there. And then somewhere down below, they will have the customer reviews, right? So in this case, right, they have 123 reviews, not many, but in a lot of instances, they will have thousands and thousands of reviews, right? So how do you actually go through and pull those 1,000 reviews and see, what exactly is happening? And, this for some reasons is like, awesomely rated product. Everybody has almost, all of them has rated 5-star on this, right? But you can really look into this and you can figure out what is happening, right? So this is one way you can actually get the text that you require for doing a text mining. Like I said, it might be coming in from a variety of different platforms, from directly what your employees are sharing from customers. And the usage is basically, if I switch to this, how can we use the text mining, right? The text mining can be used for a variety of different purposes. Right now, what people do is to really understand a new product success. So if I have launched a new product, how is the response out there? What are the things that people are liking, disliking in that product? How can I customize it in the version 2 of that, right? What is it that is really making people feel more attached to the product, right? So you will read into those comments, right? If the government has launched a new policy or scheme, right? Do you think government bothers to look at the comment of the people to see how people are reacting and feeling? You may have a split opinion, but I think most of the guys will actually try to look into how the electorate is actually reading those comments and behaving on that, right? So they will actually look into the policy decision making, all of that, right? I will obviously look into in terms of my own customer service. So if I have a call center, based on that, how exactly people are satisfied or not satisfied with the quality. I mean, all of those are the potential use cases of this, right? Then to the point that Uday was mentioning, once I understand what is happening as of now, then I can figure out how I can position my products and strategies for the future so that I can learn from the, what is working, what is not working as of now to customize my products and services in the future and get it more in line with the expectation that the customer has. Does it make sense? Any questions, comments from anyone so far? Dhanush, all clear? Okay, great. So that's the main idea. So there is tremendous value in looking into the text, right? And that's where, I mean, you can figure out, and I don't know how many of you tried. So let's say, anytime you have some dissatisfaction with the customer service agent, right? You say that I'm going to go and type my feedback on the social media. You don't even have to say that I'm going to type negative comments. You just say I'm going to share my thoughts on the social media. Immediately, they will be bending backwards and trying to accommodate your request. Have you seen this happening or no? You just mentioned the social media and people will start behaving in a very, very different way. Why is that the case? Sorry? Right, so that's one thing that it's going to be widespread, everybody will see it. The other thing is it becomes more or less permanent as well. So whatever you say on the Facebook, unless you delete and things like that, I mean, there is a certain thing that you cannot delete as well, right? The things become permanent. So if I am a customer, if I share my thoughts and comments on the social media, they become more or less permanent feature of that product, right? If I don't like my employer for whatever reasons, or if I like my employer, I go and share my comments and thoughts on the Glassdoor, again, they become permanent and they affect how other people actually looking into those comments and reacting on that, right? So that's why it's super important that people put the nice things out there because everybody else is gonna leverage that, right? In today's example, what we're gonna do is we will pull tweets, right? How many of you do the active tweeting? Anyone? No? So there are a lot of people out there who actually the first thing they do in the morning is go and start on the Twitter, right? And they will share their comments or like, dislike and stuff like that, right? So what we're gonna do today in this class is we will pull certain tweets and we will analyze those tweets and see how's the sentiment for different topics, right? And I'll be more than open to work with any topic that you have. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull tweets on few topics today. I will pull the tweets on India FinTech, right? This is an area which is very close to the work that I do. So what exactly is happening in the India FinTech market? So I will try to pull some tweets on that, live tweets, and then see what exactly is it that the people feel about in terms of the India FinTech market, right? Then obviously who can forget Trump? So we can pull some tweets on Trump, or I mean wherever Trump is mentioned and see how people think and feel about Trump. You may have certain opinion, let's see how people on Twitter are feeling about him, right? We can also pull on our Prime Minister Modi and see how the wind is blowing for him. And then Shinu was asking, can we pull for the Indian rupee because Indian rupee is nose diving, right? So what exactly is happening there? So all of those things, right? So I'll be more than happy to pick up any area and pull the tweets on that and show you. But this is what I will try to focus on today in terms of the overall market, the fintech industry, right? Any questions, comments from anyone so far? Make sense? Awesome. So let's keep going forward. And I have an article that I'll be leveraging for this. So you guys can just do Google on it and you can pull it up on your side or you can do it later on. So this is a very detailed article that I've typed out in terms of all the step-by-step directions on how you can go and pull the tweets to analyze, right? This will be done in R, leveraging certain package in R, which I'll be talking about, right? But there are many, many steps involved in that process. And let me talk about those steps, right? You guys have the accounts on Twitter? You have, right? Some of you may not have it, so you have to first open the account on Twitter, and then only it's gonna work, right? So let me just fix the formatting here. Okay, I think that should work. And the first thing that you gotta do in order to pull the tweets is set up the access to the Twitter API. So after, first thing is you need to have a Twitter account, right? But whatever we are doing here now, it doesn't have to be from Twitter. It can be done for any text for that matter. So first thing is you have to pull the tweets from Twitter, and in order to do that, you need to have the Twitter account. The second thing is you need to be signed up on the Twitter apps, right? And I will show you one example of that. So if you click on this, so this is where you have to go and create a dev app for yourself, and I'll open it in a new tab. So this is not a regular Twitter account. This is the apps account. And this is now in the development mode, right? So you can see that I have already created a couple of Twitter APIs. And it's very important for you there. I mean, if you want to really figure out how the people are feeling about a certain equity, how's the news coming in, whether the news is positive or not, I can do this in a real-time basis, and I can tell what the sentiment is about that particular equity, right? So very, very helpful. So the first thing that you have to do is, I mean, right now I already have a couple of tweets. So let's say I don't have anything. I'll have to click on this button, which is create new app, right? You will have to call that app a unique name, because that's how Twitter is going to track whether you have something that you can access or not. A description about that, and website, and that website could be anything. It doesn't matter, but have a legal format there, right? And then you have to put a URL as well. And I have the directions over here. What URL have to you have to put, and all of that, right? Once, sorry, they can do it in real time if they want to, yeah. You can sign into Twitter, and you can sign up very quickly on that. So again, I will show the steps. So go to apps.twitter.com. If you have a login ID, you just need to log in with your same user ID and password, and that should work. Can you write here somewhere on the board so that here? REVA 309, yeah? No, he's talking about the sign-in. So once you sign into the Windows, then we'll go to Twitter. So if you don't have an account, you can sign up for the account very quickly. If you already have an account, what is the password? 123? Password is 123, guys. It's working? Oh, blocked. Let me. It's working for him. His is blocked for some reason. Uday's. You're able to log in, or yours is also blocked? In Twitter? Okay, that's maybe they don't have the access here. Let's see if any of you is able to log into Twitter. If not, then you can take it as a homework. I think it's blocked. Twitter is blocked, Pawan, for some reasons. Oh, okay. Is it working for anyone? Are you able to log into Twitter? No? Padmanabhan is able to log in or no? No. Okay. So then internet is on. Can you open up the news.google.com just to really see if you're able to connect to internet? Yeah? It's working? Okay, internet is working. Hi, please. Okay, so I guess for some reasons, security reasons, because this is a cyber lab, so maybe they haven't enabled, Pawan is actually trying to sort it out, right? Welcome back. Okay. And all of these directions are mentioned on the Quora page that I mentioned. I'll send you the link later on. I'll share the link with Shinu. She will circulate with you. You're more than welcome to take a look there. In case if you want to repeat some of these steps down the road. Shall I move on then? Okay, so we'll make it available to you so you can give it a try. But I'll just show you the process, and I will do this couple of times, so you don't have to worry about it, right? So, and this video will be available as well, so you can always refer to the video later on, right? So I was telling you about the steps which are involved in terms of moving forward. So the first thing that you have to do is to go to the apps.twitter.com and sign in with your user ID and password. Once you do that, you will click on, once you do that, you will click on creating a new app. So I already have a couple of apps. Create a new app, right? And the name of the app, you can call it anything unique, a little bit description about what the app is supposed to be doing. And this is nothing but you're trying to do a handshake with the Twitter using R or any other platform for that matter. Not just R, you can have a Python or any of the plug and play tools that you can use. Website, this could be any legal website that you have. So in this case, I have provided my blog's URL. And then in the callback is where you will put the specific things, which is mentioned over here. So you may want to take a note of this. In the callback, you have to put this URL, which is 127. I'll just zoom in a little bit so everybody can see it. And maybe I've zoomed it too much. 127.0.0.1, the same one that you see over here, is what you have to put in the callback URL. This is just in terms of making sure that you are able to communicate with that API. This is the API. How many of you have heard about the APIs? All of you, most of you, right? So basically application programming interface, which makes fetching the information much more easier from different sources, right? So we're just gonna use the API, Twitter API, to pull the information. All right, any questions on this? Amrita, you good? Okay. Yeah, perfect. So then what we're gonna do now is, once you have established the connection, you will see something like this coming up, and you are good to go and go on to the next step, right? But there are certain things that you have to make a note of, and these are the things which are very, very specific to you. So just like when you're using your login and password, you have to use these 4 information that will be coming in from your Twitter API. So consumer key, consumer secret, your access token, and access token secret, right? And I'll show you where to find these information as well. And again, these are your unique login IDs, right? So if you go to keys and access tokens, you will see that consumer key is mentioned over here. Consumer secret is mentioned over here. You have to directly copy paste the same. And then the second piece of information is access. So that was more about who is the person who's trying to access. This is more about how do you access that. So they have provided a unique token for you to really use that, right? So make sure that you make a note of this before you move forward. I'll pause here and see if there's any question, comment from anyone. All good? They have it, yeah. Yeah, it's a cyber lab, and this is you guys are very lucky to inaugurate the lab today as well. So, yeah. So, but it's very straightforward. So, apps.twitter.com, sign up with any of the name that you can think about, which is available there. Make a note of your consumer key, consumer secret, access token, and access secret, and make sure this is unique to you and you do not share with others, right? Because using your Twitter ID, if I share this, you can use my Twitter ID to pull certain information, right? Or if it goes in the wrong hand, they pull certain information, which is going to be ultimately flagged to you that you tried to pull this information off the net, right? So make sure that you keep it secret. So after the class, I will go ahead and change that. No, I'm just kidding. Don't worry about that, right? So you don't have to worry about that. Anyway, it's very, very hard to memorize unless you take a picture of that and all that. So don't worry about that angle, right? So in interest of time, guys, what I'm going to do now is, how many of you have working knowledge of R? Only one person. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll quickly give you a view of R as well. So what exactly is R? Yeah. So you can actually, I'll just give you a quick, 5-minute tour of what is R, right? And R is one of the most popular programming languages around, right? It is predominantly used for building the models, right? And, you can think about doing variety of different analysis, data manipulation, data handling basically, right? Data visualization, all of those things are possible. And for a large extent, text mining as well. But there are, other packages which are more robust than R. For the purpose of this exercise, I'll be just showing you how to pull the tweets in R and analyze that, right? If you're more comfortable in Python, if you're more comfortable in any other language, you're more than welcome to do it, right? And for pulling the tweet as well, guys, there are a variety of different platforms available. So even in Google Sheet, for example, if I want to show you, you can pull the tweets in the Google Sheet as well. If you go and let's say I'm just going to click on one of these files. There are add-ons that you can actually go and get the add-ons, and they will be able to pull this tweet as well for you. So for example, I will go click on add-ons in the Google Sheet. Okay, so it's coming up. And then you can search for tweets, right? Or just put tweet, and you can find, tools like Twitter Archiver, text analysis, all of those things which are available there. So my point of, mentioning this thing is that R is not the only game in the town which can do it. There are a variety of other platforms where you can do the same thing. But, more or less, that is the easiest way of handling that. So you can actually pull the tweets within the Excel framework using the Twitter Archiver as well, right? And some of the other programs which are freely available for you. Okay, so let me just spend a few minutes talking about R Studio. So this is basically what we call as an IDE. What is an IDE? Who would like to talk? If you have heard about, huh? Exactly. So, Sanjay is exactly right on the money. So this is the integrated development environment. And what it does is basically it will hide a lot of complexity in the background. And you can actually have more GUI based interface and stuff like that, which makes your job much more easier, right? So over here, just to give you a quick view of, what exactly our studio has, is 4 different windows, and you can have more or less depending on what exactly you're trying to do. So this is where you will be doing scripting. What is scripting? Somebody new who hasn't spoken yet? What is scripting? So this is where you will be doing your scripting. Basically, you're typing of the codes. You are typing whatever code you want to run. You will be typing over here. This is the console, and console is nothing but where you can actually make it more interactive, more when you are actually doing a prototyping. You can type something and it will return back to you, so you know exactly whether it's working or not. And as the name suggests over here, you have the environment, history, all the things, the files that are coming up over here. And this is where you will see the plot coming up. So when we do some graphics, you will see the graphs are coming over here, right? Any questions on this? The RStudio interface? And it's super easy, very, very easy. Actually, if you want to, let's say, import a file, so you can say new file, or actually open file. You just go to the system, and for example, let's say I want to open a file which is not open, which is a linear regression file, and this icon right here denotes that this is a RStudio file or R file. You can click on open, and I have opened the file, right? And let's say if you're trying to run this code, all you have to do is to simply select all of this, which is Control A, and click on this run button, right? It's super easy. It's not complex at all. So right now I don't have certain packages installed for this particular code, which is fine, but you get the idea of how easy it is, right? And it will display all the results and stuff like that, right? So right now I have already done something over here. If I want to clear up like a whiteboard, I can use these brushes. So you can see that there's a brush here. So I will clear up everything, and that will remove everything that is there in my global environment right now. This is already clear, and I can come over here and do Control L, which will clear up everything. So right now there's nothing which is saved in the global environment. So I'm good to go in terms of the plain slate, right? So now we will go ahead, and I'm not going to go through a lot of details in the code because most of you guys are not very comfortable in R, but I'll tell you at least at a wider construct what is happening over here, right? So we are setting the working directory. What is a working directory? Why do we need to set the working directory? Ma'am, what's your name? Ramya. What do you think? What is a working directory? If you have any take on that. Even if you don't know, you can say, I mean, whatever comes to your mind. No bad answers. Why do you set up a folder?
It's like a note what we need for one piece.
Yes. So do you create folder for your photos? You create folders for certain other things and stuff like that? So you're just telling the RStudio, look, this is where my codes will be. Go look in that directory. And when I generate certain outputs, save it there as well. So I know where exactly you're saving. Otherwise, RStudio will be guessing where exactly you have saved the file, and you'll be guessing where exactly RStudio has saved the file, right? So just to make sure that you're communicating with each other, you say, okay, my working directory is going to be users, R Pandey, desktop classes, right? So that's what I'm doing. And other will be very complex for them to really do it, the entire thing, the hands-on. So I'll just do a demo, and then I'll open it up. And if one of you would like to come over here and change certain things and do, you can actually do it in my code. You're more than welcome, right? And if I have to find out whether I have set this correctly or not, I'll say get working directory, and it will tell exactly where exactly my codes and everything is going to be saved, right? So the main idea of this step is to create a location. So you're creating a location for your input and output. So you're just telling anytime you have to read certain things, please read from here. Anytime when you have to output certain things, please output it there. So everything is going to be saved in that. That's the entire purpose, right? Now, in these lines over here, what we are doing is basically we are loading certain packages, right? And I will explain in a very, very simple English what is a package. Package is pre-built functions. And now you'll say, okay, you threw one more buzzword that I don't know. What is a pre-built function, right? Functions are something that you want to do on a repeated basis, right? So let's say if you have to run the same code n number of times with different metrics in it or different parameters in it, you'll create a function for it, right? So because every time you call the function, so let's say you keep on running or you keep on organizing the marathon race, right? And you would like to find out who is the winner, who is the, the fastest, and so on and so forth, the different metrics. You can create a function which is going to do all these tasks on a predetermined basis, and you can store it and pass on the new audience, and it will generate all the metrics. That's the main idea, right? So these functions really enable you to do certain things related to what we're going to do over here today, right? Twitter obviously is a library or package to pull the data from Twitter, and these are nothing but the authorization tools. So you have to get the authorization, or you have to get the token from the API to connectivity to connect to those systems, and you're actually making that connection using over here, right? Don't worry about these details. I'm just telling you what exactly is happening over here, right? Let me pause now and see if there is any question from anyone. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions, thoughts? Is it easy or difficult so far? Let me ask you this. You don't have to say easy. If it is difficult for you, just tell me difficult, right? You speak your mind, whatever comes to you. Yeah, Uday.
Can we do it through
Some other tool?
not with a
Some other platform, like not the RStudio?
no.
But connect to BSC India or some other data source, which is open and accessible right now.
So for each one of them, you'll have a different way of talking to the API. So whatever we have, we have put here today,
Data is really accessible.
it's all accessible. But the packages which will be,
Except in download.
like the CSVs, yeah, you can download them. You can download them.
Can we work on that?
I'll show you some examples. Once I complete this example, then I'll show you how to pull anything else you want to, right? Because the process remains the same. You're only talking about how to fetch the information, right? Let's say somebody already gave you this information, then this entire part is not necessary for you. So I will talk about the second part, which is more how do you analyze the text? What are the steps involved in the analysis of the text, right? So I'll talk about that. So let me just quickly cover the Twitter portion first, right? Now over here is basically you are just passing on the different parameters for you to communicate with Twitter, and OAuth authorization basically, and then this is where you are passing on your unique consumer ID, consumer key, all of that, and this is where the handshake is going to happen, right? So what I'm going to do now, and how do you run something in RStudio? You simply select that and run it, right? If there is any error, you will see something happening in red color over here, because right now there is no error. You don't see any red color, right? It will also generate certain warnings, which at times you just simply ignore. Yeah. Yes, great point, Namrata. Yeah, thank you. So if you do not have these packages installed, which most of you will not, so you have to do what we call as install packages. So you simply go and let's say I have a package called XYZ, which is it's gonna come back and give me an error because there's no package called XYZ. But let's say if there was a package called XYZ, this is how you will install it. So I'm gonna give it a few seconds. Maybe there is a package XYZ, I don't know. There is XYZ? It seems like that, yeah. There is XYZ. Okay, there you go. It's coming up, right? So it's getting installed. I don't know what that package is. I've never used it. So it has already successfully unpacked and downloaded the package. So it's as easy as that. RStudio is completely free, right? So that's the beautiful part about the data science, that if you really have the passion and if you really have the motivation and the grit to really do things on your own, most of the data is free, publicly available. Most of the tools are free as well. And obviously you have your own time, depending on how much time you want to spend on learning these things, you can really climb the data science heights very, very quickly, right? So all of this is free. You don't have to pay a single penny for it, right? So there are two different ways. One is streaming. The other one is, that I'm going to pull the latest 5,000. So I'm not going to pull like static one, but the latest 5,000, whatever that happens to be, right? There's a live streaming as well. So there are different APIs. So you have to connect to the streaming API in a different way and fetching the records in a different way, right? Live streaming is as things are happening, you can automatically generate this, which is not, yeah. So I see where you're coming from. So you want to see how the stock news are coming in and everything, and how exactly the sentiments are flowing in, and then you can actually react on that. Yeah. Yeah. So that can also be done, but we'll just look at the latest 5,000 or 10,000 stuff like that we can do, right? Okay, so I think, I have run till this point, which is all good. Now I'm gonna feed in my consumer key and all the information to really move forward. And this is where the handshake will be happening, right? And I have already done this handshake, but I'm gonna do it one more time just to really show you the process. If your Twitter API is successfully set up, it will automatically open in your favorite browser or default browser, and you have to say authorize app, and it will generate this unique token for you. You simply copy this token and come back and put it over here. Yeah. Yeah.
I think we are going into the details of each section, each statement, but maybe before we jump to that, if you don't mind, can we get like a quick overview of what all sections, what are we trying to do, what sections are there, and then nitty-gritties of each statement we'll do in a second part.
Sure. So let me actually use a blackboard here first, right? So what we're gonna do is basically broken up in two parts, right? So one is fetching the data, right? And fetching the data, in this case, we're gonna do using Twitter. Oops, what happened here? Okay, sorry. The second one is gonna be cleaning up the information because the text is very, very messy. Whenever you have the text, it needs to be cleaned up first because, you can have the same words. So we'll go through how we can clean the text up, right? The third is then you can analyze or do what we are actually targeting to do here, which is a sentiment analysis, right? So we are on the part right now where we are actually, Piyush, fetching the information using Twitter, right? Once we have fetched the information, we will go through and clean up the information. And there are tools to do the cleaning, and then we will analyze the information. There are tools to do the cleaning. So we are, till this point, we are just on this step, which is fetching the information, right? Does it help? Okay, awesome. No, great suggestion, right? So whatever we have done is, till now, we have done the handshake with the Twitter. This entire portion that you have done so far is just to really make the connection with the Twitter API using our platform. We haven't done anything else, right? Now is the time where we are actually gonna do the fetching of the information, right? So there is, after you've done this, now this is where we are actually going and searching the Twitter, and we are searching the Twitter for the combination of two words, Indian rupee, right? So we're saying go and search all the tweets, to your request, So we are searching for Indian rupee, and we are telling, go ahead and give me the latest 5,000 tweets which have this subject, anywhere, from anyone, right? You can search by the specific users. You can search, let me write down so that you guys know. There are a lot of functionalities in this package. We are only scratching the surface right now. You can actually search by the different users. So for example, if you follow somebody, let's say you are a die-hard Salman Khan fan, and whenever he tweets, you would like to see what exactly he said and how exactly people react on it, right? Or you want to search by lat and long, or latitude and longitude, right? What are the tweets coming in from a particular area in the world? You can actually do that, right? Or you want to search by your friends. You can do all of that. Or if you follow somebody, you can do all of that, right? So there are many, many different ways of searching for it. In this case, what I'm searching for is by the words, just like you would search for in Google. So I'm searching for those words, whatever those words happen to be. That's all we're trying to do, right? Make sense? It's very, very powerful. You can do a variety of different things. So I'm gonna search for any tweet, and I'm telling it, please search starting from January of 2018, 1st January 2018. Language has to be English, because if there is, if you have, some Mandarin or something like that, I do not want to interpret that. So I want to just focus on English language starting from this date, and give me the latest 5,000 tweet. Now this is a free package from Twitter. The API that you have is free, so it's gonna have a limitation on the number of tweets that you can pull, right? So number of tweets is gonna be limited, right? And if they see that from the same IP, I'm getting repeated requests throughout the day, they may even go to the extent to block you as well, because they want to monetize this channel to really pull the tweets and all that, right? So as long as you're doing it on an experimental basis or decent basis, I mean, there's no harm. But if you try to do it throughout the day, they may block the access as well. You have to get the professional services then. Yeah. Clear? This is the same format as the US date. So this is the year, month, and then date. And you can change this format as well anytime. So let me answer that question in a different way. I think I have answered. Okay. Yep. So anytime I have a question about anything, I'll simply go in the help and type this, right? So I'm going to type for search Twitter, right? And it will give you a very detailed view of what exactly it is having, right? It says year, month, day format, right? Which day you wanna pull in from, which locale you wanna pull in from, the geocode, max ID, all of that, right? And variety of different things that you can actually explore. It's all here, right? And they will give you some examples as well that you can actually do, right? So for example, I can pull on the FIFA as well, but in this case, I'm just gonna pull for the Indian rupee, right? So if I click on this, it will take a minute, and the moment you say red stop sign, that means R is doing something in the background. So you should not change anything in the setup unless you want to kill the program. If you want to kill the program, you can simply click on this and it will be stopped. But right now it's running and it will take about 30 seconds or minute to give the information depending on your internet connection. If your internet connection is super fast, it will be back in a minute. I'm trying to pull it using my mobile connection, so it might be a little bit delayed, but not unusual delay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm connected on my mobile actually. So while we are waiting, any question, any comments so far?
Any particular reason for doing this?
No particular reasons. If you look at Python, Python has now gotten to the way where we are actually having more connectivity with the other APIs. R traditionally has been used, right? But you're absolutely right. So we can do it in Python, we can do it in Excel, we can do it in any other platform, right? There's no particular reason. Some of the packages, in my opinion, are, and I'm comfortable in both, and I keep on switching back and forth between Python and R, depending on the utility that I have. So some of the packages you'll find better in R, other packages are better in Python, but most of the times Python will actually be better compared to R. But for the sentiment analysis, there are a couple of packages which are very good in this, right? So now the results are back. How do we know the results are back? Who can tell? No, not you, not you. Huh? The red part is gone. And then what do you have? One more thing. The cursor is back on. So this one, so it's allowing you to type again something, right? So what if I was, let's say I was having, some sort of memory loss. I didn't know what is 2 plus 2. I can ask R, what is 2 plus 2? It will come and say 4, right? Or if I say, what is 1,000, 10,000, it's a simple calculator, minus 95 rupees, 9905, right? So it's working. So the moment it comes back to the cursor, you know that it has run, right? Now, this is a simple way. So I have, pulled the tweets and I have saved this in object called search tweets, and head is basically nothing but showing the top 6 observations of that, right? So these are the top 6 tweets, and let me try to zoom in so that you can see it better. So these are the top 6 tweets that have come in. Fall of rupee. Chidambaram says, still looking forward to BJP's Achhe Din, taking dig at Modi government over Indian rupee, something, something, and there's a URL, right? And then there's a second tweet which has been coming in from this user. This is a retweet, and I can see the retweet because of the RT over here. Modinomics has completely ruined India's economic indices and so on and so forth, right? So I'll let you guys enjoy the tweets which are coming in, but it's all coming in there in terms of, what people have to say about the Indian rupee as of now, right? So little bit of a controversial topic, so I will not go further down there, right? So, but everybody gets an idea, and that's the beauty about the Twitter, because everybody's going to be super sentimental. So that's why we actually hit Twitter, to really get the sentiment on how people are feeling about different things, right? Now over here, what we're doing is we are just saving it in the database, basically what we call in R as a data frame, which makes it easier for us to really look at this information, right? And then I'm going to export this file. So, and you can, pull the data and you can export file to CSV, and it's very, very simple. So you say write dot .csv, the data that you want to export and the name that you want to call it. So I want to save this file as a rupee CSV, and all this data is exported in the CSV format, right? Now I have saved this file in a different location. Obviously I don't have the latest version over here, but this is how it's going to look like. How many tweets you're going to have? 5,000, right? So let's just quickly check on it whether we have the 5,000 or not. So if you just do this, oops, this is doing the summation. Yeah, I will just change it to the count, and which is coming out to be 5,000 tweets, right? And you can look at these tweets visually as well, how they look like. So rupee at 69, Indian deposit in Swiss bank, and so on and so forth. So you can keep on going down. So this is the text. Now, let me give you guys 5 minutes, and you tell me what is the sentiment on this. 5,000 tweets only. Can you tell me the sentiment on this? How do people feel about the Indian rupee? You may read some comments and you may say, okay, this is what it is, right? But it's very hard to see what exactly is happening. And one word which keeps on happening is 69. Just looking at the tweets so far, everybody is worried about the mark 69. You can see rupee at 69, rupee at 69, and so on and so forth, right? So you can see this is how the tweets are coming in, right? I have some other ones as well, so I'm just going to pull up in a random order. So I have, allow me a moment. I will open up a new tab so that will be there as well. So this is all about, fetching the data. So I have pulled on Trump as well. Let's see how he's doing in Twitter. So, and what some of the comments are. Right, so you can see these comments are coming in. So it basically gives you a very, very detailed view of, everything related to those tweets, right? So we will see how exactly the sentiments are there as well. We will analyze all of this, right? So I have saved everything, and it gives you bunch more information as well, right? So how many times it has been retweeted. So for example, if you want to figure out if there is a popular tweet, so for example, this tweet right here, 2328, whatever that happens to be, has been looking at this data, or actually this one, 22557. Trump should not be able to choose a lifetime appointee while he is under federal investigation, full stop, has been, retweeted many times. So a lot of people can relate to that, right? But let me ask you guys, what is the sentiment on this? Is it very easy to guess? Huh? Yes, but I'm saying if you were to manually look at this, what would you say is the sentiment on this? What is your human intelligence saying? It's all caps. Whenever you see all caps and things like that, period, should not be, and things like that, it's all negative, very, very harsh. Somebody wants to be very clear that you do not misinterpret them, and they're saying, no, it has to be stopped. He cannot do it, right? So we will just see how the algorithm can really tell us, how all of these things can really happen, right? So let me pause here. We are done with the first phase. Anything else you want to pull on? Just an example, any favorite topic? Once you establish the connection, every time you don't have to rerun the same thing. I can just run it from here. So for example, I want to find out FIFA, right? I don't have to rerun the entire thing because the connection is live right now. Until I close my RStudio, I just run it from here. And it will take, again, maybe a few seconds to get the data back. And then we can quickly, and in the meantime, I can change this file to FIFA. And you can save it as FIFA, right? So you can pull on a variety of different topics. No, once you have connected, unless you close the RStudio, if you've saved the file, no, the file is yours now. So you've already fetched it. Yeah. There are two parts to it. One is setting the API, which is one-time affair. You never have to do it again. The second part is running from the R code. Every time you start a new session, you have to connect to the API using your regular process, right? Don't have to do it again. Once you, let's say you are having a live session right now, let's say 6 o'clock in the evening, I want to do it again. I'll just come over here and then put the new search word and I can pull the, the tweets on that, right? I'll just quickly show you this one and then you can move on because we're already 12:15 now. While we are waiting for it, any questions from anyone? Namrata ma'am, how about you? Any question? You run it in your lab then, right? But I mean, we'll share all the documentation with you. You can give it a try later on, yeah? Any questions on this side? Padmanabhan, yeah, sorry, Asha? Whatever you have in the tweets, everything is going to be pulled up, right? But we'll see there's a lot of junk in the tweet and we'll have to remove those things to analyze that. And that is the second part, which is how you clean up the tweets and then how you analyze that, which is the third part of that, right?
So what if like somebody has added a photo or something and not put any words to it? Then that will not fall under this photo.
No, this will not pull the photographs. This will only pull the textual information that is there, right? So in this case, you can see these are the top 6 tweets that we have. World Cup fever, wherever you go. The new Louis Vuitton 2018-15 World Cup Russia collection is available now. So you can see, I can pull in real-time basis any of the tweets which are there on any of the topics, right? So I'll pause this here and then I'm gonna change my version of R, which is very, very easy because this was an old package and there is a different package that I'm gonna use for the analysis. So it's very easy to change. I'll write it bigger. REVA 01. And this is PAVAN at 1991. Now we know your birth year. So this is very, very easy, guys. I mean, I will just change the R version to something which is more recent, which is the 3.5 and very, very easily changeable from over here. And I will simply say apply, okay, shut down my RStudio, and then I'm just going to reopen the RStudio and we'll begin with the phase 2 of the activity. How do you start the RStudio? You simply go in your search console and click on RStudio. That should bring it back to life. And we go in the tools, global options, just to really confirm, yep, that's fine. And then I will go and say file, open file. And I will go to my location, which is classes. And I'm going to pull up the next code, which is called the NLP. What does NLP stand for? People who have the analytics background. Natural language processing, right? So there are a bunch of NLP packages which we have in R. We'll be leveraging some of those NLP packages to do the text mining, right? So very, very hot area, the NLP. So this is sort of like a NLP algorithm that we're gonna run, and I'll show you what exactly are we doing over here. So I'll just wait for you guys to log in, whoever is trying to log in, take maybe a couple of minutes of breather, and then we can keep going. Yep. We're all set? Perfect, cool. No, not really. This is more on the text. So I'm going to pull up a file which, I mean, I think I have done a lot of cleaning in. So I'm just trying to find out the file here. This is called India FinTech, right? So assuming that you have the file and everything saved, just like what we have done, oops. So just like what we have done earlier, if you remember, we have done the write dot csv, which is for writing a CSV file. I'm gonna do now read dot csv, which is for reading a CSV file. Very, very easy step, right? And I'm just telling, this is my file, and I think I need to just run that code again to set the working directory. Allow me a moment. I'll just run this to set the working directory, which is fine. And then I'm saying, go ahead and read this file and store that in the object, which is this object, right? So I can now open this file in the spreadsheet format within the R interface itself, right? So you can see exactly the same data that you saw in Excel, exactly the same thing. We will not focus on any of these things. So you can see the lat long, which is not populated for most of them. You can see who exactly is putting those tweets. Shantanu Gupta, for example, Rahul Singh, and so on and so forth, right? And if I want to pull the URL of that, I can do that, ID, bunch of other things, right? So I'm not gonna worry about any of these things. What I'm worried about is this text right here, because that's where we're gonna analyze more. And you can actually zoom in on this text and see what exactly it has, right? So it's all here. And bunch of the times you'll see the same thing being repeated a number of times. So somebody saw some news and they start, retweeting that, right? So this is what we have. These are a couple of packages which will be required for doing the text mining, TM and Snowball, right? So we will just make sure that these packages are loaded up in the environment before we move on. And when we talk about the packages, it's something similar to when you're cooking a recipe, right? When you're in a kitchen and you want to cook a certain recipe, it's not like that all the ingredients which are there on your shelf, you need to get everything on there, right? For your cooking. Depending on the dish that you're preparing, you will get those, ingredients there, right? Same thing, we need these packages, so that's what we're gonna do. We will only focus on the text, which is called the corpus, right? So this is one of the things that you should be aware of. Anytime when you're doing the text mining, you have to build a corpus, right? Corpus is nothing but the collection of the text, right? Because we are agnostic to who said, but we want to see what exactly was said, right? So we're gonna build the corpus of the text, and I'm gonna call it my corpus. So if you look at this, what we have done is we have stripped off everything, and we are just looking at this plain text in terms of what exactly it is, right? So that's what this is, and I will look at the content of the corpus, and you can see, this is all showing up over here in terms of that, right? Now this is where, to your point, Piyush, so now we have pulled the file, we have done all of that. Now we have to clean it up, right? Why do we have to clean it up? Because there's a lot of HTTP, URL, name of the person, stuff like that. So we don't want any of those things, right? We only want the text. Exactly right. So what we are saying, this is a function in, this is a text mining function in R. It's gsub, and what we're saying is wherever you find this sort of pattern, HTTP something something something, please go ahead and replace with none. So basically just remove it. So remove any URL references that we have, clean it up, right? And we will do that, right? So it will give you certain warnings, just ignore those warnings, do not mean anything, right? Similarly, we are looking for this pattern where there's a space, the name, the retweet, all of that. We're just gonna remove all of that and clean it up further. We're gonna remove the stop word in English, right? What are the stop word? A and B, all the things, period, all of that, because they do not add any value. So I'm gonna remove any of those English stop words because I'm looking at with the English only, right? In this one, I'm changing any uppercase or any mixed case to everything lowercase so that we do not necessarily confuse them with different words. Everything is being changed into the lowercase, right? Then I can have my own custom words because I know via or via or retweet or fintech or what, how tech will use cases. These could be very, very frequently used words which do not mean anything in terms of sentiment. So I can create my own custom list, right? If you want to have certain bad words, curse words to be removed, everything is going to be removed from there, right? So because people can say whatever they want to say on the Twitter. So you do not want to present that information to your stakeholders, right? So you can remove all of them. Um, this is what we call as the, there is a, huge concept behind that, but this is what we call as a term document frequency, right? TDF. And what it does is basically for each of the word is gonna count how many times that word is happening, and that basically fuels how we're gonna look into the sentiment. There's a more advanced version of that, which I think you guys don't have to worry. So it's called term frequency inverse document frequency, which is, one of the holy grails of doing the text mining, which is, how many times a word is happening, and then how many times in the documents that word is happening. So you have to adjust for it, the compensation that we are actually doing, right? So ignore all of that, but look at this now. So after we have run the term frequency, and I'm running on the India fintech, so probably I need to remove the India as well. I will do that in the next step. But you can see that word India has been used 1782 times in the tweet. The government has 659, money, crore, right? All of that, you can see how many times each of the word is coming in. Andhra, something is going on with Andhra, I think. I mean, they might be doing something in the fintech, right? So that is popping up over here. China is popping up. So you can see some of the trends are coming up very, very. Ask Anshul is coming up. I don't know who is Ask Anshul, but we'll find out, what exactly that is, right? So you can see I have cleaned up. Now this is the time I'm going to do a word cloud. And word cloud is very, very simply put, plotting these words in a thing like this, which basically, who can interpret this? Let me just first ask you guys. What does it mean? Who has seen this word cloud earlier? Yeah? Go ahead, Namita. Yeah. Right. Absolutely right. So if you saw which word was coming more number of times, the most number of times, India was coming out to be 1782 times, and India is the biggest. The next word is government, and it will be like a little bit difficult for you to visualize that, but the government and then so on and so forth, right? So let's say if I wanted to remove India, so I can simply go and add India here as well in terms of the word that I'm going to remove, and that should do it for it, right? So let's remove India and do this word cloud one more time, because obviously India is going to come up there. So now you see the word cloud looks different, right? It's coming up, it's not done yet. So now it is done. So you can see now the word cloud is looking different. Let's say you wanted to remove government as well, because even that is meaningless for you for whatever purposes. You can go ahead and remove government as well. Make sure you follow the syntax, otherwise I think there's something wrong. It's telling you, no, now it's correct. Okay. So I will go ahead and remove the government as well. And there you go. Now it looks a different looking sort of thing. And if I give it more space, the entire map will come up. So just give me a minute. It's a little bit crammed for the space right now. So you can make it adjust. Right, so you can see it's coming up. Have you guys seen something like this? Yeah? I have shamelessly done the same thing for my LinkedIn profile as well. So I'll just show you one example. So I created my own word cloud to say what exactly I am focused on, right? So I don't know whether you like it or not, but I'll just show you. So this is created by me to show what RP stands for. So I have, something in the background over here. So this is a word cloud that I created on my own rather than copying a picture. So I say data science loves breeds, data science, deep learning, machine learning, blah, blah, blah. So you can create your own word cloud, what you stand for, and then have it there and show off, right? So this is one thing, which is just the document frequency in terms of the term frequency, right? So I will go ahead and now show you a very, very interesting thing, which is the sentiment. How do you get the sentiment? Because we talked about the sentiment, but so far what we've done is the count, right? A package called, developed by this, I think, lady, if I remember, Suzette, basically has the sentiment analysis, and it will try to remove the sentiments from these words, right? And it's very, very easy. So for example, once I load this library, I will just call a simple demo here, and I'll say get NRC sentiment. Oops, wrong one. I'll just show you one baby example. So I'll say get NRC sentiment. I am very happy today. Thank God. Right? No brainer. So it says where is it? Oh, it's down here in the screen, right? So I'll just maximize that a little bit. Still very hard, but let me just copy it actually and put it in a text, right? So it's just giving you a demo of how easy it is to get the sentiment from one text, right? And see whether you agree with this or not, right? So I said I'm very happy today, thank God. So it's a little bit messed up, but you can see positive, joy, anticipation, all of that is coming in there. Trust, thank God, meaning I have trust in the God, right? So all of that is coming in terms of the sentiment. The same thought process will apply when I do it for many tweets in the same one. And what I'm going to do here is, you can ignore that, but I'm just cleaning it up a little bit and then plotting the sentiments, right? So I want to see how the overall Twitterites are feeling about the India fintech industry. And then I'm going to do a box plot of the sentiment as well. Okay. Yeah, just a second. I don't think I have loaded the GG plot. Just let me run this and then I will zoom in a little bit here.